Howdy, it's tubalcain again, and this is number 40B of the Mystery Tool Mystery Items series, and it's the answer. Go back and watch 40A so this doesn't ruin it for you, because I'm giving you the answers now. Some people only want to watch this part anyway, but you know, this item here, the first item, we still have not determined. There were a lot of guesses, but I didn't see anybody that was even close to what it might be. Some thought it was a shaper tool, but a tool holder, but I don't know why. Some said put a drill bit in there. Well, only a 1/2 inch shank would fit in there, but you could power drill having this mounted in the carriage, but it would be a heck of a thing to get that lined up on center, so I don't buy that at all. Some said a boring bar holder, but you know, that's most awkward. There's many good boring bar holders, so I don't know. And again, it has no trademark. That looks like owner's name, but it's a quality piece. It isn't homemade, so I don't know. And it's pretty much a blind hole. Then it goes to a smaller hole, so you could still answer that if you really know. Otherwise, don't bother. We're done with that one. So let's go to the second item now, which is an electroscope, and that's the correct name for it. There might be other names as well, and just about everybody knew that that's an Erlenmeyer flask. Nobody had the wrong answer, which was Florence flask. But remember, in a science lab, the teacher would take, I believe, a rubber rod and stroke it with wool, and I think the glass rod was with silk, and then that would move, or the two little leaves apart. And I did that for you with my comb, which is a hard rubber comb, and you can see it just shows a charge. In the earlier ones, they used gold leafs. One of these is torn. I know the reflection is terrible, but that's an electroscope, just used as a demonstration piece in a science lab, general science, kind of elementary science. Some people thought that it was a Leyden jar. This is a Leyden jar, which in some ways is, you know, I just gave that away. That should be in the next one. This is a Leyden jar, which in some ways, I guess you could call it a capacitor. Boy, that's all rusty, isn't it? So, that's what it is, an electroscope mounted in an Erlenmeyer flask. Now, this was an interesting tool, and several people had the answer correct. There's the name of the company. In Chi-Town, it's all brass, and yes, it's a left-hand thread. I asked people to identify the thread. It's a left-hand thread. And someone said that it's used to use wire as a hose clamp, and it does look very familiar to one that I saw in Popular Science, much smaller than this, when I was teaching, and I turned it into a project so that you could take common mechanics wire and turn it, make a hose clamp out of it. It wasn't a good project, and the kids didn't care two hoots about it, but the general configuration was the same. Well, let me flash now to the 1969 McMaster car catalog, and I did find it in there. So there it is, and it even says the tool in action, which is kind of neat, and the prices, and apparently it was available in 2 sizes. But looking over on the other part of the page here, you can see that they sold the clamps, and you were buying their clamps. You weren't using wire. I thought it was just common stainless steel wire, but it's not, and there's all of the different sizes and prices and everything. So it is a double band hose clamp, apparently. Not apparently, that's what it is. And many people had this correct, and they're called micro stops, and they're used for countersinking aircraft rivets. And it looks like they were expensive, but everything in an airplane construction is expensive. It could be held in an air tool or electric tool, and you could very accurately set the depth. This one again had replaceable, looks like carbide. And the whole idea, if you look these up, was that we wanted rivets on aircraft to be flush. If you've been on an airplane, you know that. Also, some boats, like I had a Grumman canoe, all those rivets were flush to cut wind resistance, because when you have 500,000 rivets that would be sticking out from the fuselage or the wing, the resistance would be ridiculous. And from what I remember a long time ago, Howard Hughes developed the whole concept of the flush rivets. Now, it might not have been Howard personally, because we know he was pretty wacky, but you know, he had that aircraft company and all that. But if anybody has any information on Howard Hughes related to this, go ahead and put that in the comments. And again, someone sent me this one here. This one I had in stock. I do not remember who it was. I lost the paperwork, but I thank him for sending that. Microstops. And it was very critical that those rivet holes be countersunk at the right depth so that you didn't lose strength. There must be an awful lot of old-timers that are watching my videos, because so many people knew what this was. And to be honest with you, I thought it was an upholsterer's pliers, and I was wrong thinking that this was a hammer. In fact, this was used by saddle makers, but mainly cobblers, to stretch the leather over the shoe last. That was that wooden form. And then, but this was the fulcrum. It wasn't used for hammering, because apparently that would have been used in the left hand, and then when they got it pulled around and tightened, then they would have a tack hammer in their right hand and drive those little nails in there. So that's what it is. It's a lasting pliers. Lasting. Probably pretty old. I was surprised how many people knew that. And thank you for watching. And this was most interesting. Not as many people got this correct as I thought. In fact, when I bought this at a garage sale, 2 of them, and I just got them hanging on the wall. Every 57 Chevy had 2 of these on the hood. And I'm going to show you some pictures in a minute. Quite heavy, zinc, die-cast, chrome-plated, and they also sat into like a tubular die-cast part, and I'll show you that in the pictures. But when I bought this, I even told the man, I love that. That's like I was authoritative. I said, that came off of an Oldsmobile rocket. And then I even recited the old ad. There's a rocket for every pocket, meaning they had the Rocket 88, they had the Rocket 98, and so different models that different people could afford. But no, it's not a rocket anymore. Well, it is a rocket, but it's not off of an Oldsmobile. It's off of a 57 Chevy, quite an iconic hood ornament. Now they put a piece of plastic and stick it on with adhesive and call it a badge. But you know, imagine this, somebody getting hit and rolling over the hood on one of these. Boy, some of the old hood ornaments were lethal. All right, let me go to the computer real quickly and show you some pictures of this, and then that will conclude this video. Okay, I'm at Google Images, and there is the hood ornament. And then if you look at the full hood there, you can see there's 2 of them on a 57 Chevy. There's all kinds of pictures of them if you want to check them out. Alright, that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.